If you continue to do things the way you've always done them, expect to get the results you've always gotten. Or you can see things differently and open your eyes to a whole new world of possibility and opportunity with your practice. This is the Virtual Dentist Podcast, daily thoughts, tips, tricks, and ideas to help you see it differently. Good morning. Welcome to the Virtual Dentist Podcast. On today's episode, we are going to talk about my favorite topic of all time: stop telling and start asking. Alrighty, so I had an experience yesterday that really made me think about this topic. It's something that I lecture on a regular basis, and it's something that I feel so strongly about. So I want to share it with you today. I hope that you see value in what we're going to be talking about, because it's one of the secrets to success in practicing dentistry, in my opinion. And it's one of the secrets to success in really building lifelong, amazing relationships with your patients. So before I go further, I want to take you back, let's say probably 8 years ago now. I was in a Jiffy Lube express oil change place close to my house. For those that have gone to get your oil change at a place like this before, you know exactly how this story is probably going to go. You can imagine the small waiting room, the old coffee, the little fridge of water bottles, the old 6-8 month old Time and Sports Illustrated magazines. You go in, you drop the car off, you sit in the waiting room, and you wait for the awkward sales encounter about 30 minutes into the appointment, which usually goes something like this. An 20-year-old kid will walk through the door holding your air filter. He holds it up and he says, hey, the air filter's pretty dirty. I suggest replacing it. And also, just so you know, you're currently running this type of oil, but we suggest that you upgrade to synthetic. It's going to be better for the engine. And this is always the most awkward interaction for me, because at the end of the day, I'm like, the air filter is fine. Bang it against the wall a few times, get some dust out. But an air filter doesn't need to be changed every 3 or 4 months. And as far as oil goes, the car's fine. It doesn't need a different oil. Just change your car. I don't want to pay an additional, $150 in upgrades. And so what do? I lie. I flat out lied to him, in the past. And I would say things like, oh, a buddy of mine owns a car repair shop, so he takes care of my oil changes for free. Or a buddy of mine has a car dealership, and so he can get my air filters for free. I lied to get out of, just telling this kid no, I don't want to do that. I don't see the value in doing that. And I think people do that to us on a regular basis, right? This story correlates so well with what we do as dentists, and I'll come back to that, but think about that for a minute. So the amazing thing about this story is that it didn't end that way. So that's how it had always gone in the past. And this young man walks into the room and he sits down a seat away from me. He's like, dude, I'm loving the new Suburban. He's like, new body style? I'm like, yeah. He's like, it's so much better than the old one. And he's like, and the wheels on it just make it look really sharp, and he looks at me and says, hey, here's the air filter. He's like, to be totally real with you, it's fine. He's like, you can probably go another 6 months. There's not really a need to replace it. He's like, if you want to replace it just so the car, functions better and the engine gets better taken care of and you get more life out of the vehicle, you can do that. But he's like, it's not something you absolutely have to do right now. And then he says, one more thing. He's like, we're coming up on the summer in Arizona. He's like, things get really hot. He's like, if you run synthetic, he's like, it's just going to make your vehicle run better. He's like, so when you go on those, vacations with the family and long trips, he's like, you're going to be confident things are going to run fine. Now, this is like a 1-year-old Suburban, right? It's not like it's an old car, but he was very open and real and honest with me. And he just said, hey, those are your options. Can I just ask you, what do you want to do? He's like, we'll do whatever you want. What do you want? And so the amazing thing is, a couple minutes later, I'm like, holy cow, I just agreed to getting a new air filter and upgrading to synthetic oil. And I paid an additional $120. And that story stuck with me for so long because I'm like, okay, why in the past have I always found ways to like get around that awkward conversation? And this time I just gave him an extra $120. And I realized it's because it was my choice. He came in, instead of telling me I needed to replace the air filter, he built a relationship with me. He talked to me, and then he just asked like, hey, here's your options. What do you want to do? And when it was my choice and I was empowered to make a decision, I kind of had this moment, and it was probably an emotional purchase, but I had this moment of like, you know what? I do want to take care of my car. It's my wife's car. It's a new car. It's only $120. Like, I'd rather just do it. It's not that big of a deal. Let's just do it. And so I've thought a lot about that story since, and how often this happens in dentistry and with what we do, right? The patient comes back, and let's like put ourselves in the patient's situation. They, most of the time this isn't their first rodeo. They've been to dentists before. They go in and the same routine happens, right? They come in, they meet the assistant. The assistant says it's time to take x-rays. Then the doctor comes in. We do the awkward 5-minute get to know you. Oh, tell me about you. Where do you live? Oh, that's great. And then we lean them back, and then we start with the upper right, and the assistant takes notes, and we go. Number 1 missing. Number 2, occlusal caries. Let's do occlusal composite there. Number 3 looks good. 4 is going to need a DO. And you guys know the story. It goes on, and we go around the upper arch, and we go around the lower arch, and then we sit the patient up, and we go through the photos if we do it right, or we just tell them like, hey, here's what I found. This is what needs to be done. And Jenny's going to go over it with you. We leave, we give them a Dentrix printout, and then they make their decision about how we want to move forward. Okay. And we've talked about this before. We're not going to get into it today, but this is the whole, like, we're asking them to make their decisions based on logic and reasoning, without really being able to feel any pain or see what's going on. And then sometimes we wonder why people don't move forward with treatment. Hey, so that's the equivalent of the 18-year-old walking in and saying, hey, you need to change your air filter. And one of the things that I found the most useful in being successful as a dentist and building trust is to start asking and stop telling. So I challenge you, the next time you have a new patient consult, you're doing a hygiene exam, don't say all these things out loud and have people write it down, because you're going to do that. And in the patient's mind, it's like, here we go again. It's the whole air filter story. They're just going to be waiting, and they're making up excuses in their head of why they don't need to move forward right now. Oh, I got to talk to my husband, or yeah, you know what? Let's do that in 3 months at my next cleaning. They're coming up with reasons to like let you down easy and excuses of why they're not going to do it. Just do the exam, sit the patient up, go around in front of them, and say those words like, hey, listen, you took time off today to come see me for me to help you. Like, here's some of the things that I see. But before I start to go over them, we do things differently here. What I want you to do when I'm done is like, let's talk openly, and you just tell me what you want to do. Like, I'll tell you what I see. I'll tell you what I recommend. And instead of telling you what you need to do, like, I'm just going to ask you what you want to do. And together, let's figure that out, and we'll find a way to make it happen. And so it's this idea of giving them control. Like, let them be the ones to make the decision. Just tell them like, hey, listen, they're your teeth. This is your money. It's your time. Like, I'm here to serve you. What do you really want to do? And once you let us know what you want to do, I'll make it happen. Okay? So that is the way I want you to start every new patient exam from now on. Like, even the simple words of, hey, we do things differently here. Like, instead of just leaning you back and telling you what you need, we'll look at everything, and then I'm going to sit you up and ask you what you want. And then you just let us know, and we'll make it happen. Okay? So let's talk about what happened yesterday with the patient. And I want to close with this story because it is huge. And it's the difference of, working hard and seeing success versus, working and doing what you love and seeing like extraordinary success and 10x results. So a patient came in to see me for a second opinion with a treatment plan printout of $32,000. And the reality is, when I leaned her back, I could justify all the work that was on that treatment plan, right? You can see like, oh, this margin's not great on this crown. This tooth needs a retreat endo. She had some cosmetic concerns in the front. She needed 2 implants. So you go down the list and like everything was justified. But what had happened is she went to the consult and they did exactly that. They leaned her back. They made a list. They told her what she needed, hand it to her in a treatment plan. And so I just told her, I said, well, hey, listen, like you have to understand, like we as dentists, it's tough sometimes because we get in the mode of like, we just want to fix, we want to help people. But I said, I've learned to do things a little bit differently here. And so today's going to go a little bit different. Like I'll lean you back. I'll take some notes on what I see. But when I'm done, I'm going to sit you up and I'm going to ask you an important question. So I want you to be thinking about what it is really that you want. Because the question I'm going to ask you is, what do you want to do? Not like, what do you feel like needs to be done, or what do you feel like is most important to me as the dentist? What do you want to do? And so I did the exam. I sat her back up, and the craziest thing, she looked at me and she just said, I just asked her, I said, listen, put all the other feelings aside. Tell me what you want. Like, why are you really here? And she said, Brian, she's like, I am a personal trainer and I treat people every single day and I help them get their bodies healthy. She's like, and you can see I'm healthy. I really care about what I eat. I care about how I exercise. But she's like, my teeth don't represent like how I feel. And she's like, I feel like it doesn't represent me. And she's like, I feel like I've spent the last, several years and $15,000 fixing all these things in the back that I never get to see and I don't get to enjoy. She's like, I'd like to figure out a way that we can like, if we can kind of do both, that would be great. If we can give me a cosmetic fix first and also take care of like the most important things, that would be good. And then I can come back year after year and we can start doing all the other things to finish up everything else. And I was like, holy smokes, like, yeah, it wasn't a $32,000 treatment plan, but you know what? She left with like a $10,500 treatment plan. And what she's going to get from it is she's going to be able to fix like the 3 main issues that she has going on with active caries. And we're going to do 4 veneers in the front and she's going to look amazing. And that is where the transformation happens. That's when people start really caring about their teeth, when they love how they look and they feel good. And now all of a sudden the look, correlates with the rest of her body and how she feels. Like that's how you create like real pivot points in people's lives. That's how you create lifelong patients, when you can have them feel amazing and you can affect the way they show up in the world. And now you can affect the way this woman like shows up in personal, intimate relationships, how she shows up in professional relationships as a trainer. Think of how much more confidence she's going to bring to that relationship now when she can sit and laugh and smile with her clients, as opposed to not smiling, not laughing, hiding her face. It's life-changing stuff. And so I encourage you to really think about this moving forward, that it's not about the teeth. It's about people. It's about creating pivot points in people's lives and helping them really transform the way they live. It's helping them see the potential to have an amazing smile and see the potential to be confident in their smile. That's when things change. And, it all comes down to one simple thing. Don't tell them what they need. Ask them what they want. When you can do that, you will see your practice grow and change, and you'll see people really start to trust you. And you know what? You start to get to do some really cool dentistry, and you start to see, how cosmetic dentistry impacts people's lives. And it's not negligence. The idea of leaving something and knowing it's there to get fixed, but leaving it for a year or two to be able to have like this life-changing transformation and more self-confidence, like that's okay. Give yourself permission to accept that and just communicate with your patients, the importance of still needing to come back and do that, but help them get what it is that they want. When you do so, you will see things change. You will see you yourself start to love dentistry more and start to do more of the dentistry you love doing. I hope that was helpful. It's something I'm passionate about. It's something that I think when we can crack that code, it will change the way we interact with people. It'll change the way we do dentistry. And I hope it was helpful today. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Just got to the office and getting ready to go in and crush it. I've got about 20 virtual consults to record before the day starts, and then I'm off and running. So have an awesome day. We'll talk soon. Bye.